cold weather, wet weather tends to see an increase in allergies, in coughs, in actually allergic conditions, whether it is eczema, it is running, blocked noses, cough, asthmatic attacks. You'll see more of the eye irritation. The thinking is that, number one, the weather is not very friendly, so you'll tend to get a little bit depressed. And of course, if you're not happy, your immune system will not be functioning as well, so you're more prone to infections. We're also spending much more time cooped together. Let's say in school, they're not going out to play when it is playtime. They're spending too much time together. So if one of them has anything, it's likely to spread in the class. The same is true for the house. People are in the house more, so that's one. But number two is lack of vitamin D. That's an obvious problem. There's not enough sunlight. Even if they went out in the sun, the quality of sunlight is poor. Then it's colder, it's wet, so they might not be going out as often as they could, which means they're getting less exposure to the sun, less vitamin D. And then number three is physical activity. Physical activity is great for your immune system. It's great for your general health. So, I mean, if it's wet in the fields, it's cold outside, no one wants to really go outdoors, so you'll stay indoors, you're not as physically active, and then you'll tend to be snacking on maybe not very healthy foods. So getting children outdoors, even when the weather is like this, once it warms up a bit, they can be in jackets and they need to get out of the house. Let them run around, they will still be getting a little bit of vitamin D. Then number two is parents, they themselves might want to accompany their children outdoors, so that it becomes a little bit more fun for the child, playing with mom and dad. But then three, there is a case to be made for supplementing, for especially vitamin D. Because, all of that, we'll try and get the children outdoors and we'll try and get them to play, but we cannot get the sun to shine. So the vitamin D supplements could make sense. Your cod liver oils, your fish oil, whatever the source is. Some people are a bit hesitant because of the possibility of seafood containing high mercury levels, so they worry about that. But with experience, it does look like it helps. Pick one fish oil or the other, get children to take it on a regular basis. Of course, there's recommendations on the box. They don't exceed the amounts. A lot of the times, the fish oils will contain both vitamin A and vitamin D. Vitamin A is a bit tricky. It's easy to overdose on vitamin A. So just keep to the recommendations on the box. Doing super supplementation of vitamins doesn't help. It might actually create more of a problem than solve a problem. So keep to within the recommended limits. Pick a fish oil. Talk to your doctor about vitamin D supplements. Even for adults, they seem to help. Low vitamin D is almost always going to go hand in hand with an increase in allergies. So supplementing for vitamin D might actually be a good thing in our settings. The flu vaccine is a bit of trial and error. We try and estimate in what direction the virus is going to mutate in the coming season and then make a vaccine for that. So sometimes the flu vaccine works very well, sometimes it doesn't work so well. It's a bit like insurance. Of course, you could drive around without insurance and never have an accident. When you do, and you don't have it, it's a big problem. So it's a call I would probably leave to the parents to make. Is a child prone to, coughs, fevers, and that kind of thing? And that may make sense. Is a child very young? Babies, you might actually want to do the flu shot. As the child grows older, the immune system gets better. Maybe if the weather is not too bad, you might not go for the flu shot. So it's really, they should discuss it with their doctors. It's something that I would recommend. The weather right now is unusual weather. We haven't had this kind of weather for a long time. So of course we will see many more infections and many more opportunities for infection. So anything that we can do to ward off those infections is something we should consider. Vitamin C, honestly, doesn't make any difference when it comes to flus and whatnot. Well, at least of the available evidence, there doesn't seem to be a case to be made for vitamin C. However, fruit and vegetables is an important part of our diet, so a balanced diet. Other than vitamin D, that is problematic for us and more so for darker skin. It's more difficult for us to absorb UV light to make vitamin D. most other food and dietary requirements can be met from a balanced diet. So I would be more interested in getting children to have a balanced diet and then to have any specific deficiencies corrected specifically than for us to say, oh, if you take a lot of oranges, you're not going to get sick. That's not true. If you take, let's say for example, zinc, there might be a case to be made for supplementation of zinc. But again, your zinc needs can be met by a good balanced diet. So balanced diet, probably vitamin D might be the bigger issue. Everything else can be met from your diet.